Hey everybody, C-Note here. Welcome to the C-Note Audio Extravaganza. I'm a little under the weather. I'm still going to work. I'm going to see how I feel. But, my throat's killing me. A little bit foggy. And I got some drippage. It's gross, right? Super gross. Welcome to the show. Christian Rivera here. I hope you're doing okay on this lovely Wednesday morning. I totally didn't have any idea that it was Wednesday. I woke up in like a complete fog and I'm like, what earth is it? I had no idea what was going on. So yeah, everything's been kind of like a whirlwind the past few days with work and personal stuff. Really, I mean, nothing bad. It's just busy, So everything's good. I wanted to encourage you guys to check out Personally Borderline's channel because we did an interview yesterday, which was a fantastic interview. We spent 2 hours on the phone, which was fantastic. She's a great person. Lots to talk about. We covered a lot of topics. If you listen to like the last 5 tracks that I posted last night, it's kind of a breakdown of our conversation. There's a lot of different things in those songs that are relatable to the topics we discussed. We spoke about kind of the triggers that led us to sort of talking about mental health and how we wanted to share it with the world, what kind of led us to wanting to get help and get better, and sharing some personal stories, not too personal. Shared a little bit about personal philosophies on people, social media, how our perceptions of social media are kind of painting our worldview a little bit, and then making things shift a little bit to more of a reality-based entertainment, like actual reality, not like Jersey Shore reality, which is true. There are Guidos on the Jersey Shore, not gonna lie. There's plenty of that, which is why I didn't watch the show. I'm like, I already lived this. I don't need to see this nonsense. But I realized it was like hyper reality. Anyway, like most things are. But we had a lot of great discussions on that podcast. So she's going to be posting it on her channel or her podcast. I'm not sure. I don't think she'll be able to post all of the audio in like a segment, which I don't know if that would be smart anyway, because it's 2 hours. Well, you can skip it, I guess, if you wanted to. And, but yeah, it'll go up as an episode, so check that out. And then she's giving me the audio, so I'm going to see if I can get it up on my channel and share it with you guys. But for now, go to her channel, go to her station, check that out, and it's a great thing. Hopefully you have some insight, some advice, or just some thoughts on how you felt it went. If you wanted to hear more, if there's topics you want us to elaborate on, that would be super dope. And I think next time I'm going to host, I'm going to try to think of some questions, some topics for us to discuss, and we'll kind of do it again. Maybe we'll try to make it shorter or longer. I don't know. See how it goes. I mean, honestly, 2 hours felt short. Like, we could have kept going. It's one of those conversations and one of those rare times that you connect with people that you can kind of go from having a drink to go getting a meal to sitting on the couch to going for a walk and just continuing talking the entire time. And that's nice. It's nice to share stories with somebody, with anybody, and be able to connect with people on a certain level. So that's really nice. And I think that's what's nice about everyone connecting on mental health struggles, interwoven into like the identities and realities of who we are. We talked about that a little bit too, about sort of me sharing sort of creativity and life advice and all that stuff interwoven into my personal mental health struggles, and how my philosophies of like being real about that sort of thing. So definitely go check that out. So today on the podcast, I wanted to talk about personality versus professionalism. Usually there's very much a dichotomy between the two. Like, a lot of people feel like they have to sacrifice personality to be a professional in the world, particularly a corporate world. And it gets a little tricky, particularly for young people who have a certain perception of what the working world should be like. And you can loosen up a little bit. Let's go. Sorry about that intro. That was a little bit ghetto. I basically I lost the track. The 24 hours passed because I took too long. Learning lesson. I need to re-upload my intro and then play it twice a day so I don't lose it. So, hey, you get to hear it twice. So that's the way to do it. That was a little bit of a bummer, but I still wanted the theme song, so we're in it. We did it. It's a little bit bassy and muddled, but it's there. And you gotta wait a second for me to press the button. But it's cool. Whatever. Job is done. Anyway, let's move on with our lives. Hi. Hope you guys are doing well. So today I wanted to talk about personality versus professionalism. I almost shouldn't present it that way because they're not really opposing forces. I think the popular opinion is that they're opposing forces, but they're definitely not. And I think this really applies to people who are like strong personalities. Like I can be that way. I don't know. It's tough for me to label myself as a quote unquote strong personality, but I can be a bold person. I can be someone that says things that other people are thinking. I don't have a lot of filters. I have plenty of filters, but I don't have as many as the quote-unquote average person does. More willing to say things that other people's won't. Other people's won't. That's not a sentence. I'm more likely to say things that other people won't, and for that, it's made me kind of, in some cases, a difficult personality to deal with, mixed with the mental health struggles and the fact that I can be pretty stubborn. Particularly being on the West Coast now, my personality, which is very much an East Coast personality, can come off very abrasive. Some people see that as an asset. Some people see that as a valuable thing. They like the aggressiveness, the assertiveness, the take no nonsense attitude. It helps to get things done. Particularly for me, I mean, I get very frustrated with a lot of West Coast mentalities of passive aggression and laziness and not exactly saying what you mean. I mean, that happens everywhere, but it happens a lot here. There's a ton of passive aggression. It's pretty annoying, actually, and it's obvious and it's interesting. So there's a lot of little things about the West Coast, California, that don't necessarily make sense or resonate with me, but it helps me to kind of stick out because I'm an East Coaster and I get to show my personality a bit more. So throughout my life, I've been kind of working on my personality and being true to myself. I think I kind of lost it when I moved here, personally. It was, I was trying to like get used to a new area, conform to new ideas and new people, and also sort of adjust to, my wife and what she wants in life and what her family wants and expects of me and things like that. I was also not as much surrounded by other abrasive or aggressive types, so that kind of wore on me as well. Kind of calmed me down a bit. While some people here think I'm a very aggressive and assertive personality, many people back on the East Coast will hear me talk and they're like, "You talk so slow. You're so chill now. What happened to you? You get cold when it's 65 degrees. And I'm like, "That's freezing, man. It totally is." I can't hang anymore. The coldest I've been recently was went to London at the end of December 2014, I think it was, and man, it was cold there. It was 5 degrees Celsius, I think, at the time, which is pretty cold, I would say. I don't know how that converts to Fahrenheit. I think it's about 40 something. That's my guess. I'm not sure. But it was pretty cold. Pretty cold. Anyway, so that's how I wanted to kick it off. Kind of talk about me and my personality a little bit. And let's talk a little bit about how that converts to the professional world. Because I've had some trouble with it. And it's been kind of an ebb and flow for me. So if you're someone who has had difficulty balancing your personality in the professional world, this next part's for you.
if you've been dying to start that podcast about doves, or about your favorite jacket, or about a long-lost love, or a murder mystery about a cat who murdered everybody, you can start it now on Spotify for podcasters. I've been on Anchor for a long time, and now it is officially Spotify for podcasters, and it has been a platform that has been growing for forever. And I love it, and I still use it to this day, and it has hosted this podcast for 500 plus episodes now. So I highly recommend it. It is free to use. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. I'm literally on my bed recording on my, the phone is on the bed, and I'm just talking, and it's not that complicated. And then you can distribute your podcast on Spotify and everywhere else that podcasts are heard. So video podcasts are available too if you want to show your pretty face and have people see you. And you can do all that too. So just do it. It's totally free. No catch. Give it a try. Spotify for podcasters. Let's go.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. That's the sound of another sale on Shopify. The moment a business dream becomes reality. Shopify is the commerce platform revolutionizing millions of businesses worldwide. They simplify selling online and in person and provide 24/7 support so you can focus on successfully growing your business. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/offer22, all lowercase.
I just got a strong whiff of donuts. Like someone has like donut dust coming out of their exhaust or something, because I don't know what happened. There's not like a donut place nearby. It's just, I just got a random waft of it, or a craving. Though it is somebody's birthday at work today, and they're probably going to bring in donuts, so maybe it's just me anticipating that feeling of probably having to turn them down, because I'm eating way too much sugar these days, and I got to slim down a bit. Anyway, I wanted to talk about professionalism. Really kind of like a higher level version of professionalism. Because a lot of jobs have their own versions of it. And there's a lot of parallels between what jobs expect of people. And that's really what I wanted to talk about, is like the parallels and really what to expect from yourself when it comes to professionalism. Because many people are operating as freelancers. They're operating their own business. And particularly if you are a freelancer for a while and then you go back into the corporate world or something, it could be a very jarring thing, because you're kind of working for yourself, doing things by your own rules, and then you go to this place and they have a lot of rules that seem very arbitrary, like dress codes and things like that. I never liked that sort of thing. I went to Catholic high school, and I got in so much trouble all the time just because like my shirt wasn't tucked in, or I didn't shave properly or something. It was always like a waste of time, and I was like, every argument that I had with them was like, I should be in class right now, and you're stopping me because my shirt is untucked. This is silly. But I think dress code and all of those things, while there is merits to those things, I think the minutia of getting someone in trouble for those things is a little silly. But you should respect the rules if it's a place that wants you to do that. And you should know what you're getting into if you're applying for a job and they have a certain dress code. Those are things you should be investigating before you even look into the job or accept the job. And, make that decision for yourself if that's something that you're willing to do. I think it's easier for me to do. My job is business casual, though I usually wear like a button-up shirt and a hoodie over anyway, so I'm fairly casual. I'm a little more casual than the average business casual. But I also, over the past few years, have taken a liking to a bit of men's style and fashion. So for me, it's kind of served as a challenge to sort of upgrade my style and look good in a way that I respect and appreciate, because I've got a little bit of a punk rock mentality, so I don't necessarily want to look like the other average Joes. Like, I want to kind of find a way to stick out a little bit, or have shoes that I like, or a belt that sticks out, or fits my personality in different ways. I want to kind of still find ways to express myself while remaining professional. So, I mean, I went into a dress code rant, and that's not what I wanted to do, but whatever, that's totally part of it. But really the overarching thing about professionalism is finding ways to take care of yourself in the way that you know how, knowing yourself, but knowing how to adjust yourself and who you are to the requirements or requests of your clients or of the people around you. I mean, if you're trying to attract a certain kind of client, you may need to dress or act or behave or contribute to a certain community in a certain way that kind of fits that community. If you're, I mean, if you're a trainer, it helps to show that you're in shape a little bit, something like that. Or that's probably a loose example, but I like to use also poker as a example, because I am writing a book on using poker strategy in life situations. And poker is, if you're doing it to make money, you need to be able to listen to yourself. You need to be able to know when you're in a situation where you're not thinking clearly. You need to be able to trust yourself when you need to go to the bathroom and get up and not be addicted to the game and not fall into FOMO, the fear of missing out, when it comes to each hand. Because, if you're at the bathroom and you're thinking, oh God, I could have aces right now, it doesn't matter. Your cards are not being dealt. The hands are changing. Everything's different. Anyway, I'm going to continue on the next segment because I'm out of time. So a problem that I see, particularly amongst young people, is the desire to conform more than actually adjusting their personality to the situation, to the job, to whatever the situation may be. You're just kind of almost letting what is around you mold your personality, letting the job mold you. Now, I don't mean come in and be overconfident and be brash and act like a know-it-all or whatever, but come in and kind of show who you are. I see a lot of interns, or I get emails from interns occasionally that are almost too proper. It's you learn one extreme, then you kind of pull back. You learn how to be professional, and then you start to learn how to inject your personality into that professionalism. You find ways to, alter your words a little bit to sound more like your natural speaking voice. When I email people, I use grammar appropriately, but at the same time, I make sure that I'm writing things in a way that the person understands that it's my voice. They almost hear my voice in their head when they're reading it, because they know about the way that I speak. Most times, I'm not going to say the words going to. I'm going to say gonna. You gonna do that? You going to do that? That's not what I say. I'm not very proper, very slang. So I will often, after getting to know people after a while at work, will do that. I will say gonna versus going to, just because that's the way I speak. Now, it also depends on who I'm speaking to. If I'm sending an email to the CEO, I may be a little bit more proper, a little bit more formal. It's kind of like in language, with not so much with English, but with Spanish and other languages, you've got varying degrees of formality versus informal. Usted is a formal usage of a word in Spanish, and in most cases in slang terms you wouldn't necessarily use that. Now, I'm not a native Spanish speaker, so I don't really know the nuances of that stuff, but it's kind of like just knowing what situations are appropriate and which aren't. And it is a matter of experience. It's a matter of learning, but you should always make sure that you're doing everything you can to inject your personality, because the personality will take you, leaps and bounds above anything that anyone else might do. So I labeled this professionalism versus personality, but it's really about melding the two together. You'll see that a lot of things that I talk about is about kind of combining ideas, because I think we become very polar when it comes to concepts or ideas. It's very, you're either this or you're that. And I don't know, sometimes the answer lies in the middle. Sometimes it's not even too far from the edges. I've always been very much a person that kind of goes to one extreme, tries that out, goes to the other extreme, tries that out, and then finds a middle ground that really works. It's like the example I've used in previous podcasts is, if you're trying to do research on something, you're not going to read one article and just take it for what it is. You're not going to read an opposing article and just take it for what it is. You're going to read, hopefully, 5 or 6, my apologies, hopefully read like 5 or 6 and then take bits and pieces that make sense from each of those and formulate a thought or opinion based on those things. So it's kind of the same thing with professionalism versus personality. You find what professional traits you feel work in that scenario and that work for you as a personality. For me, dress code is something I have to kind of switch and change so that I don't feel like a robot. And then, I have some liberties also with the way that I speak to people, the jokes that I make. I do have to put filters on certain jokes that I would like to make. That's just, you gotta know where the line is, basically. And, just get to know your environment and who you are. Professionalism isn't necessarily a catch-all. It depends on the situation you're in. And in some cases you can show more personality than you think you can. And, ultimately, being yourself, you are your brand. I mean, for me, I'm working on actually being a personal brand, but you as a person, you are your brand. You are taking yourself throughout your life from one thing to the next, and, honing your personality mixed with professionalism will get you to the places that you want to go. So that's basically it. I could probably keep going, but my throat is killing me and I kind of don't want to talk anymore. So, I appreciate you listening to this episode of the C-Note Audio Extravaganza. I hope you'll stick around to listen to a little bit of music. Probably share some bits and pieces of, hopefully I can echo the video or the interview that I had with Personally Borderline. If not, follow her on Twitter, twitter.com/PersBorderline, PERS Borderline. And, talk to her there. She's talking about borderline personality disorder, and I think it's important. I think I may have learned that I may also have it. So maybe that's something I need to look into. But I don't know. I don't really like to put too much, I don't like to lean into a label too much, personally. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but for me, again, I'm trying to interweave things into my life, so it's not my approach, but she's talking about it exclusively, and I think it's going to help a lot of people who are dealing with it. It's a very difficult thing. It's becomes very difficult for people with that disorder to. Loud mufflers are the worst. We can see how small your penis is. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, personally borderline. She's sharing a lot of great stories. She's helping people, and I think you should go over there, particularly if you're dealing with it or know someone who's dealing with it. She can provide a lot of realistic insight and thoughts as to what she's going through and what she's gone through, and how to help other people sort of cope with it and deal with life, and how to hopefully still, not completely torch the world around you, and try to make things happen in your life despite those things. So I hope you gained something from personality versus professionalism. I think it's a good topic, so there's plenty that I missed. So I think if you guys have some additional thoughts, I'll post it throughout the day. That would be fantastic. I would love it if you could assist me in this. I'm genuinely asking for help in this because I don't want to keep talking anymore. And I'll post a couple songs and then check in later on today. So I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll catch you next time.